No, I don't think it's barbecuing weather. That big barbecue there, I picked up for nothing last year because someone was just advertising it as, you know, just for nothing. So I thought, yeah, all right, I wouldn't mind a barbecue, but am I ever going to get around to eating meat outside? Probably not. But it gives me a better idea, because lugging around the welder and then the gas bottle as well, can I make some sort of trolley? This is a notebook. This is my notebook full of projects for PNHQ. And if we look inside, we can see there are no projects so far. So I think this is going to be the first one. I need a pen and a tape measure and an idea. But before I get too far into it, maybe it's best to just strip off the bits that aren't needed to leave it with a kind of bare shell. There we go, that wasn't difficult. Should have done it around the back. I wouldn't have to carry this around. That's another section of the barbecue that I'm going to cut a nice big slice off, weld it onto there with a kind of an arch so the gas bottle can fit securely. That's the plan. Shit weld still. Well, of course, at some point I was bound to forget to switch my microphone on just as I was talking about something really important, which you can tell by my facial expressions. You see this lid here? This lid, designed to keep the heat in whilst you're barbecuing. Why not use it to store tools in? And again, I'm coming up with all sorts of fabulous ideas on how I can attach it to the rest of the frame, but you can't hear what I'm saying because there is no sound. Well, you already know that. Of course you do. And now back to explaining something else that will be forever lost because I have no idea what I was talking about here, but I assume it was quite important. It's a real inconvenience forgetting my tripod attachment. I'm very pleased with this idea. I should do more stuff like this because it's making the use of things that would have just been scrapped to the wires, and that really suits my purposes. Probably should have cleaned this tray out first, but it's going to get mucky anyway. I could have just gone down the route of just drilling holes, and that bit doesn't look great there, but let's ignore that, shall we? I was going to say I could have just done nuts and bolts to stick it all together. That would have been perfectly okay. But obviously, you know, I've got the welder. I may as well get a bit of practice on this with the gas to see how much I can improve upon things. I'd quite like to make some sort of hooks or straps for all the cables so they can just be secured. 3 lots of wires coming out of the welder that are just dangling around everywhere. They're all quite thick and they're all quite long, and that was one of the things I didn't particularly enjoy about moving the thing around, because you're just dangling stuff everywhere. Next, I'd like to make another brace for the bottom of the canister and a couple of bits for the welder to actually fit in so it can just be secure rather than just wobbling around somewhat. And what should I make these things out of? Of course, bits of barbecue. That's the theme, isn't it? Let's stick with it. And this slightly rusty tray here can be cleaned up, and I can make use of the corners that are already there. That's my corners. I'll clean those up and weld them to this tomorrow. The next morning, I got to work, really excited to crack on and see if I could finish this job off. So I made some brackets so that the welder could sit in place without moving about anywhere, and another brace for the gas. Yep, that all went quite well. But I started to get welder issues. The wire feed wasn't working. It kept just connecting and then switching off and connecting and switching off. Took the back off and the wheels weren't going around, but the hamster was still there. This partly is to blame for the welding not being too good in the first place. That and an experience, and when I kept forgetting to put the gas on. But nothing was going to stop me today from getting this job finished off. So then I carried on making a secondary tray for things like my helmet, like a pen, like a spanner, like my cup. For when I move the welding rig about, I can have a cup of tea as long as I've stopped and I've got somewhere to put that cup. Eventually, after much messing around, changing the wire speed, adjusting the thing on the rollers, it started to work much better than the result, but it started to work okay. And here it is, the finished item. If it's finished, I was thinking of painting it, but maybe I won't do. So I have somewhere for everything I could possibly need for my welding escapades, including that cup of tea. And the 3 cables that come out of the welder can all be neatly wrapped around this magnet for the moment until they decide on something else that they can wrap around that'll make it even neater. Regular viewers, you may be wondering whether you have completely missed an upload. Well, you haven't. I just haven't really explained myself too well. And that's why I find myself at 1:10 in the morning having to create a link from this part of the video to the next part, which are related, but were supposed to be separate videos, with this part next supposedly going first. But it didn't work like that.
Getting consolidation low. Now, that was all I was kind of confused about.
A familiar journey, an exciting day ahead. I'm off to see a leg row man. A leg row man, the saviour of classic cars. So yes, going to do a review, but much more than that today, because a leg row man is going to help me out with getting the gear together so I can do proper welding. In other words, the gas, the bottle, the regulator, etc. And it's a pleasure to say that Alan of Al's Detailing has pushed his sponsorship of my channel just a little bit further, because he has put the money up to get these parts that I need. Channel members get 25% off if you want your car detailed by him. How cool. I wish I was a channel member, then I could have 25% off. So in the huge boot of the trusty Volvo, I have the welder. The reason for this is that it's a snap-on welder, and I believe that the regulators are specific to snap-on, which could actually cause a bit of an issue. We'll find out quite soon. Plus both tripods, because there's going to be quite a bit of filming going on over there. Yorkshire's calling, and I want to make the most of it. So now I have everything I need to do welding properly. Let's get started. The welder, the bottle, the gas, the regulator, and the 0.6 mil wire. And welcome to the day where I fit the new welding wire, the 0.6 mil, and the gas bottle, ready to do some proper welding. I may just discover I can do it, but I've been struggling a bit. I was full of fear about fitting this thing, but I managed to do it without it unravelling. So that's a good start, but it's not winding on. It's the wheels turning, but nothing's happening. So I think that needs to go on there. There, I've done it. 0.6 mil wire fitted without any disaster, and the new winding wheel also fitted so it can turn it around, because the old one wouldn't work. This must be 1mm cable. Look at the size of it. No wonder it wouldn't work. No wonder it wasn't moving. And that might also explain why I was struggling to weld with it. Another thing that's generally powered by gas these days rather than coals, barbecues. Yeah, barbecues. See what I mean? That's the trouble with making more than one video at a time. In fact, trying to do 3 videos at one time. Anyway, just to reiterate a point. Here's a nice bonus for anyone who's a channel member. Al's Detailing, who paid for all of this welding gear in the first place, has put an offer on the table for any members, and that is 25% off all of his detailing services, provided you go and see him and you're a channel member. And if you're not a channel member, why not be a channel member? Because there are certain perks to it. And that is the end of this rather exciting video. And I just want to thank you for watching it. And thanks for being a subscriber. And thanks for being a channel member. And thanks for commenting. And thanks for liking. And thanks for thinking about being a channel member. Now I'd like you to think about it again. Thank you for watching it all the way to the end. So that's it. Right, bye.